Tonight, it could be. You can make a motion with an amendment.
Yeah. That might not go over very well.
Georgia's got her laptop tonight.
Let's see. 'Cause we have a lot of stuff.
Is Councilman Chambers gonna be out?
Yes, he is. He said it last time, because he made sure that we were all going to be here.
That's right.
Mhm.
Good deal.
Yeah.
I thought I was gonna be out.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Yeah,
Nice
Grandbaby
job.
came early.
it's not the same without you, man.
Oh, there you go.
Don't tell me that.
Hey, come when you're ready. All right, 30 seconds. Let's get ready to govern. I'll warm up.
What happens if you don't warm up together?
This sounds flat.
I can see it.
Would you like the old one?
Make it one goes.
I'm just glad you don't hit that thing too hard anymore. Don't tip you.
No. I wouldn't want to jinx anything. You mind leading us in prayer?
I'll be glad.
I'll now call to order this meeting of the City of Whitehouse Council for today, August the 20th of 2024. It is 6 p.m. Ms. Hargis, will you please call the roll?
Sir James Wansley,
Here.
Zach Briscoe,
Here.
Georgia Harris, here, John Chambers, Michael Lowe,
Here.
and Matt Lazarine.
Here.
We have quorum.
Will you please stand if you're able and join Councilman Lowe as he leads us in a word of prayer.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for yet again another day to serve our city. Bless our city, bless all our first responders and the staff, and forgive us of all our sins and accept our thanks. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Please join the council as we say the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And the Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. Please be seated. Sounds great when we have a full room. I appreciate that. That takes us on to item D, presentations. We have one item up for presentation. It's an update on the Welcome to Whitehouse sign. Mr. Daniel Cleckler, if you'll please approach the podium and state your name and let us hear what you have to say.
So, hello, my name is Daniel Cleckler. So good evening, Mayor Wansley, members of the City Council, and fellow community members. My name is Daniel Cleckler, and I, like many of you, have lived in Whitehouse for a very long time. Driven down Main Street thousands of times, and like all of you, I have looked at the corner of the Main Street and the Veterans Memorial Highway and seen the Welcome to Whitehouse sign. So I know that we've got a lot of items on the agenda tonight, so I'm going to keep these remarks relatively brief. So that the structure where the sign is located was originally affixed and created in 1947 by the Henry Marshall Bell Lodge, Masonic Lodge here in Whitehouse. And in the 1950s, after the city was incorporated in 1953, the sign was put up originally. In the 1990s, it was restored a little bit. They restained it, repainted it, kind of gave it a little bit more life. In 2018, I, as part of my Eagle Scout project, conducted a historical restoration of the sign and the site that surrounded it. And then Mr. Lowe, here a couple of years ago, actually also went back through, power washed it, brought it back up a little bit brighter. Then, over this past summer, that we had several severe storms that came through, and during those storms, the sign was actually knocked down and suffered a significant amount of damage. The original plan, whenever I contacted the city and called over to Ms. Black, was to go through and restore the sign and be able to get it back up relatively quickly. However, upon a little bit closer inspection, the actual sign itself has suffered too much damage for that to occur, unfortunately. But have no fear, we have a plan. So that plan is going to be, and one of the reasons that I'm here tonight is to request that I be allowed to recreate the sign and to build a new sign, construct it, and be able to go ahead and get it back up. This would, of course, be at no cost to the city. So that would be able to be accomplished by y'all recommending the funding for it be recommended over to the Parks and Recreation Foundation. Could not have lost that. And then we will be able to utilize a fundraising platform with them, be able to get the the link, have the city help publish that in the weekly newsletter, and then be able to garner enough funds. It should cost between preliminary estimates $3,000 to $3,500 total for the sign. The largest expense of that is actually going to be the wood. So we're planning to use the same wood that it originally used, which was cypress. So 16-foot lengths of cypress is quite expensive, between $115 and $120 for each plank. So that would be the vast majority of that funding would be going to that. If we end up with excess funding, I know that there's a few other projects that are in the works with the Parks and Recreation Foundation, a few other items in that general area as well. That funding could also be rolled over to those projects. So that is kind of the update on the sign. I can answer any questions that y'all have, anything that y'all have concerns over. I'm here
I have
as
two
a
questions.
resource.
The original sign, because it is historical and has value in that aspect, is there any way to reuse it, maybe like with the building that we're remodeling, or something that we can do with it, just to,
I don't know, we could research that and look
Okay.
into it and see.
So I currently have all of the planks that we do have. Now, of course, during during the process of determining the efficacy of the wood, we did take the all thread out of the wood, which is whenever we discovered that it was, quite frankly, just too far beyond. But I do have all of that.
I'm just wondering if there's a way to put it back together where it can be mounted on a wall.
Or displayed in a case.
Yeah, displayed as
So
something.
we most definitely
Yes,
can.
absolutely,
Yes.
encased, I don't know, okay. So I just wanna keep that on the table. Is there a reason why we don't need to just add this to the budget, why it needs to be a fundraiser?
That's up to you.
Okay.
Would the design be the exact same?
So there will be a few modifications to it. A couple of those are just going to be, one, we don't have a final design because we're still working to get so the original sign was hand chiseled. So we're trying to figure out the proper machinery that could be used to do that, and that will also determine a little bit more on the sign, the design of it. Generally speaking, we're hoping to keep the scripty welcome to the bold Whitehouse, except we would be changing that to the color white this time so it's easier to read, and then the tricolor city logo, the W with the star, which would be red, white, and blue.
White letters. Well, I tell you,
Oh,
go ahead. Go ahead, Mayor.
so this one was obviously susceptible to winds. It's been damaged a couple of times. Are there any modifications to the design that'll make it a little bit more rugged?
So what we're actually wanting to do, and I actually have already spoken with one of our local welders here in the community, and they're willing to donate the metal and the labor to do this next part, which is after the wooden sign is constructed, we're going to take and actually frame it in metal, and then that will be welded around the sign, so that should be there. And then at the bottom, we're planning to tether on, not super short tethers, but tether down a little bit, which will help keep it from swaying as far as it did. Ultimately, that is what ended up breaking the sign. The metal brackets at the top, they ended up twisting. And then whenever that twisted, the eye hooks broke. And then whenever it dropped, that's when the wood suffered damage.
Okay, that's a good idea. Y'all wanna pay for this sign?
I'll put it this way, if there's any money that is needed for this, because if I've heard it once or twice, the citizens love that little sign.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and I mean, I just think that is money well worth it. I mean, I know you're using Parks and Recreation, but, you know, again, it's a staple for this city. You know, people love that little thing, you know. So, and bravo on the white lettering. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And I commend you, man. Thank you very much. And let us know those who donate their time and services, because we may want to go around and just thank them, because they don't have to do it, and it's appreciated, you know. So,
Yes, sir.
thank
So,
you.
Mayor and Council, this isn't posted as an action item for you tonight to authorize the funding, but we can make sure that's on the next agenda.
Okay.
Thank you.
So basically, we would just need him to give us maybe an exact itemized cost.
Correct, and that would take me going, and I've got two different sawmills, one near Austin and one that's over in Louisiana, that primarily focuses on cypress wood, because it's 16-foot lengths. That's where we're kind of our dilemma is in trying to find that. I'm also going to be working to see if I can stop at Quality Lumber here in town and see if they could possibly be able to order that. So
You
I'm
think
gonna get
the
a little
end
bit
of-
solidified
I'm
numbers.
sorry. You think the end of next month might be enough time for you to come together with some specifications, some renderings, so that
Yes, sir,
we
of
can take a
course.
look at it? And
Yes, sir, I can get an itemized report, get a proposal put together, and get it over to this platform.
And when you do, could you also include the photographs of the sign in its current condition?
Yes,
so
sir,
we
and
can-
now I will say it is
Good point.
deconstructed,
Right.
but I can get those photos to you.
And we may wanna have a little celebration get-together and things out there. I mean, this is, you know, we'll leave the burned out building to where it is right now, you know.
Thank you for your efforts on this.
Yeah,
Yes,
thank
sir,
you.
of course.
Anything else from council? Thank you very much. Great presentation. And I think you might be the first person outside of council to refer to 110 as Memorial Highway. So that's awesome. I'm glad that's sticking. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir, of course. Y'all have a great evening.
All right, any more presentations? All right, that takes us to item E, community interest. Here are some items of community interest from Mrs. Black.
Mayor and Council, a couple of things coming up. Keep Whitehouse Beautiful will host their fall sweep and seed on Saturday, October 12th. This will be their fall litter cleanup effort. In the past, they've kind of done it over a couple of months. They're really trying to refocus and do it all on one Saturday and get everybody together for that effort. They will also host their community-wide garage sale on Saturday, October 19th. We get lots of questions every fall and spring about when that will be. Ball field renovations are wrapping up, almost complete, so we're really excited about that. Fall ball is set to begin sometime in September, so we're finishing up that just in time. And the renovations at 109 East Main Street continue. The slab removal on the west side of the building is complete, and they have finished their plumbing rough-ins.
Excellent. No rain. Slow them down recently. Moving right along. Anything else in the matter of community interest from council? All right. Looks like, school's in full session. So, everything's going well there. I didn't hear any horror stories of the start of school, so.
We didn't have any major accidents or
I mean, every year we have a flood or something that usually follows the start of
And
school.
we have notified the Texas Department of Transportation about some issues with the school zone lights, so they're supposed to be reviewing that and hopefully getting those corrected this week, so.
Don't forget Taco Bell's open.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah, there are a couple of people learning some new traffic rules as they navigate this traffic, so glad our officers can help them with that. Anything else, community interest? All right. That takes us down to item F, public forum. I didn't receive anybody signing up for public forum. Is that correct, Ms. Hargis?
That is correct.
All right, so that takes us down to the consent agenda. You have four items on your consent agenda today. Approval of the minutes of the City Council meeting on July 26, 2024 and August 6, 2024, the quarterly investment report, discussion, consideration, and action on the TML IRP Interlocal Agreement regarding cyber liability and data breach response and authorizing the city manager to sign the same. Discussion, consideration, and action on the documents needed for the community development, block grant mitigation, CDBG-MIT, Resilient Communities Program, RCP. If no one from council would like to move one of these items to the regular agenda, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
The second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. With that, we move down to item H, other action items, ordinances, resolutions, and public hearings. Number one, swear in the 2024-25 Whitehouse Youth Community Council. You gonna be running this one, Mrs. Nichols? No? All right. Y'all, come on up to the front.
Yeah, you're in.
I'll swear them in.
Oh, okay, excellent. So on our Youth Community Council, and for those maybe new to this organization, this is a representation of our elected officials and our city staff in the high school. So we have a mayor, Jonathan Bush, who has served as mayor pro tem for the first 3 years of this organization's life, so I feel like that is a well-deserved title. We have Jonah Conklin for mayor pro tem, which is not here. Okay.
He's beating some kids.
Yeah. He'll make it. We have Abigail Zing, treasurer. Hello, Abigail. Tony Starnes, serving as secretary. Tony. And Victoria Morales Rangel, public relations, the hardest job. We have Ryder Kelly, council member. We have Vanessa Allen, council member. And Veronica Allen, council member. I believe this is the first time we've ever had twins join and serve on the council, so thanks for that. Yeah, Ms. Hargis, if you'd please take it away.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. Get over here where I can kind of see you. Okay. I do solemnly swear.
I do solemnly swear
that I will well and truly perform.
that I will well and truly perform
the duties of a member.
the duties of a member
Of the Whitehouse Youth Community Council.
of the Whitehouse Youth Community Council
To the best of my skill and ability.
to the best of my skill and ability,
Upholding all its ideals and principles.
upholding all its ideals and principles,
As to me shall seem to be.
as to me shall seem to be,
In the best interest and welfare.
to the best interest and welfare
Of the city of Whitehouse.
of the city of Whitehouse
And the students of Whitehouse ISD.
and the students of Whitehouse ISD.
Congratulations.
All right.
So council, let's gather
Yeah, we-
down and surround our youth.
I want to be about the twins.
I got my daughter in the swearing in.
Okay, that's good.
We'll make sure to send it to us.
Matt's always in the back, you can always see him. I can see you. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, just peek out behind her. Alright, ready, 1, 2, 3. You gotta get one floral. Okay, one with floral. Ready, 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Proud of you, proud of you.
We look forward to seeing what you
Ready,
guys
Laura?
are doing.
And if y'all could come over here, each of you have the paper, you're gonna go and sign that, and then you can roll her and I'll put Laura will.
She can start any other government job.
Yeah.
I wish we would have had something like that. That was such a great organization.
I don't know, I was that responsible at that age to.
Oh, I agree, Matt. I'm the same way.
That's pretty cool.
It is, it really is. It really is.
Thank you all. All right, going on to item number 2. Item number 2 is a public hearing on the proposed 2024-2025 budget. And we're entering into a public hearing on this item. So the time is 6:17, and I will close the regular council meeting and bring us into public hearing. All right, who would like to lead this one?
I can start, Mayor, if you'd like.
Sure.
So provided in your packet was a line item detail of our 2024-2025 proposed fiscal year budget. You will see in that line item detail that we have experienced the same increases that everyone else has experienced in this economy related to pricing on both materials, equipment, personnel, across all cost centers, basically. What we have done in this budget is we have worked really hard to make sure that our revenues in each of the funds that you see reflected here are closely reflective of the actual funds that we have received so far to date this current fiscal year, with little growth. So it is a tight budget year. You'll see in our general fund right now with what we've proposed, we're estimating at just over $9,000 in revenues over expenditures. Our staff has worked really hard to keep our costs low while also providing the necessary services to our citizens. Here's where you can see the reflection of our revenues. The green bar on each of these is proposed revenue. The light blue just to the left of that is year-to-date revenue across each of these service areas. This most significant change in the general fund is the addition of a city center department that will stand up the staffing and maintenance and operations costs for 109 East Main when that is complete. Right now it's budgeted for those costs to begin in May. I expect that our substantial completion date right now is at the end of June, so we will see that a little bit later than what we've currently budgeted. We did make one change to sales tax revenue in the general fund. We took a closer look at what we've received year to date, and like many other agencies across the state of Texas and across the United States, we've seen sales tax growth slow a little bit. We've seen it come back down off of last year's numbers at the same time, just a hair. So we backed off of that number just a little bit. And as you all know, with the voters making the change to the sales tax to reduce property tax allocation change last November, that goes into effect October 1st. So we will see slightly less sales tax revenue going into the general fund, with that allocation going more towards economic development. This is a look at expenditures. Of course, the line item budget gives you much more detail on what each of these are and what the changes are across the board. Development Services was a department that we created in last fiscal year budget, and City Center, again, is the new one for the current fiscal year. When we look at utility fund revenues, the utility fund really only has one revenue source. That is, of course, our water and wastewater billing. As you all know, water sales are a commodity and completely dependent upon weather trends. We do our best to be conservative in this fund to account for any weather pattern changes or significant equipment failures. That fund remained relatively flat from last year on both the revenues and expenditure side. So you can see that here. You can also see in 2022, 2023, the significant spike in our water operations costs is largely due to well equipment failures that we experienced that fiscal year. When we look at all of our fund overview, the general fund and the utility fund are the two largest funds that we deal with. We also have very small port security and port technology funds that are required by the state. Of course, our ARPA funding, we do have plans to spend that significantly down with the development of the park area in the Shahan Ranch neighborhood. We do have some existing debt that's identified there by GEO and CO, and then you can see that increase in the economic development fund with that increased sales tax allocation. Other than that, staff is happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Anything from council? All right. Well, this is a lot that goes into this budget process, and it started a long time ago. It's a big ramp up where all the departments come together and pretty much say what they need to take the lights on, keep the lights on right now, and what they might need, to allow for future growth and a little bit of budgeting. So thank you for all the time and effort and diligence that goes into this. We run a really lean ship here, especially compared to other municipalities, and that's because we have super capable employees that are able to pull all this off. So thank you for that. Anything else before I close this public hearing?
We need to open the floor for anyone that may want to speak.
Okay. Then we'll do that now. We'll open the floor to anybody that would like to come up and speak on the subject of the proposed 2024-25 budget. Nobody? All right. Floor is closed. That was short. Windows open again.
Jim?
All right. First. Appreciate that. The window's closed again. All right. Anything else before we close the hearing? All right. The time is 6:23, and I'll close the public hearing on the proposed 2024-25 budget. return to the agenda. So item H3, a public hearing on the proposed 2024-25 property tax rate of 0.717855 per $100 evaluation. Time is 6:23, and I'll now take us into the public hearing for this agenda item. All right, Mrs. Black.
Mayor and council, just a little bit of a refresh. Before I get into talking tax rates just too much, I'll go over a few acronyms that we use frequently when we're discussing the tax rate. M&O is the portion of the tax rate that's dedicated to maintenance and operations for general fund activities. INS is the portion of the tax rate that's dedicated to paying off debt issued by the city. The no new revenue rate is a tax rate that would result in generating the same amount of property tax revenue as the prior fiscal year. The de minimis rate, because we are a city under 30,000 in population, we have to calculate an extra tax rate, it's called the de minimis rate, and that would generate an additional $500,000 in property tax revenue. And then we also have the voter approval rate, which is the tax rate that would generate a 3.5% increase over property tax revenues over the prior fiscal year. This is a look at the rate that we have proposed and that you all proposed as a part of the budgeting and tax rate setting process. You can see here that we had about a 5% growth in our certified appraisal rolls, about a 3.5% growth in our net taxable value. This next line, the sales tax reduced property tax, again reflects that voter initiative that passed last November to take out the sales tax to reduce property tax and move a portion of that over to the Economic Development Fund. We did see about $18 million in new construction this year, which was about 58% less than what we saw the prior year. I do think the amount that we saw in 2023-2024 was probably the highest amount by far that we had ever seen in the history of the city. So we realized that is not a sustainable number. 18 million is closer to what we had seen in years prior to 2023 and 2024. Our debt payment did go up just a little bit. We were anticipating that, largely related to the 2022 CO issuance, but it does not have a significant impact on our debt rate for the year. The M&O property tax revenue, you will see that we have increased that number in the budget to about 3.1 million. That is reflective of what we collected the current fiscal year. So even with that growth, it's still a conservative number to account for any payments that may be missed or delinquent accounts. The tax rates are noted below. Again, the NNR is the no new revenue rate. These rates are a little bit unique this year with removing that sales tax to reduce property tax. That is no longer, it is a part of our property tax calculation this year because it's being taken out. As I mentioned to you all before, we did have to work closely with our tax attorneys and the state comptroller's office to get clarification on how to calculate these rates. You all recommended or proposed keeping the overall property tax rate the same, even though it will result in less revenue going into the general fund between property taxes and sales tax revenue. So we will, if you all adopt the rate that you proposed, which is 0.717855, that rate will be below the no new revenue rate, the voter approval rate, and the de minimis rate. This is just a look at historical tax rates and the work that you all have done to reduce the tax rate since 2021. The total tax rate then was about 79 cents, and we are just over 71 cents now, which is to be commended. You can also see the work that we have done to kind of shift the ratio from debt payments to maintenance and operations. I know when I came in 2019, we were spending a significant amount of debt items on things that we are now covering under maintenance and operations on an ongoing basis so that we were able to save the taxpayers the cost of issuing debt for things that are smaller in nature that we can just take care of through our ongoing operations funds. This is just a look at the total tax bill for municipalities in Smith County. And again, this is the total tax bill. So, for example, the city of Whitehouse does not pay into an ESD. We cover our fire department costs as a part of our general fund. And so when you're comparing tax rates across different cities, we're looking at all of those types of things because they're funding fire operations through emergency services districts while we're funding them through our property tax rates. So a little bit different, and just wanted to show that as a little bit clearer reflection of what you're getting for your money. And that's all I have.
All right, any questions or comments from council as a part of this public hearing? Hearing none, I will open up the floor for anybody who would like to make a public comment on the subject of the proposed property tax rate. Yes, sir. Come on up. State your name for the record.
My name is Chris Jennings. The only question I have is, what shortfall does that create on, as far as not being able to go to general fund? I know with us not having a no new revenue, that lower than that.
That gave us a targeted fund balance of,
So our fund balance will remain the same. We are standing at about 6 months of operating funds in our fund balance. That won't have a negative impact. We were able to fund the significant projects that we needed through the general fund revenue. The sales tax to reduce property tax is a tax treatment, and it's a treatment that's done through the tax rate calculation. Our revenues for taxes in the general fund will be slightly, will still be more than what we budgeted in the prior year. We've budgeted slightly less than what we've actually received so far in the current year, but I think we're able to absorb that through good financial planning.
Cool. Okay. Appreciate it.
Good
yes,
question.
sir. Great question. Would anybody else like to speak? All right, then I will close public comments. It was closed. And if nothing else from council, nothing else to say on this public hearing, then I'll go ahead and end the public hearing. It is 6:30 p.m. Public hearing is closed, and we are returning to the agenda. It takes us down to item H4, discussion, consideration, and action on ordinance 24.0820-01, adopting the budget for fiscal year 2024-25. Mrs. Black.
Mayor and Council, I don't have anything additional to add other than a very big thank you to our Finance Director, Jennifer Lusk, for all the work that she does, keeping us all straight on this budget process. I think she's already started her list for 25-26, so, and we'll head straight into audit after this adoption, so we really appreciate all the hard work that she does to keep us on the straight and narrow as we go through what is a very arduous process.
Kidding. Proud of her. Good job. Yeah.
All right. Anything else to add from council? All right, hearing nothing, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 24-0820-01, adopting the budget for fiscal year 2024-2025.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? We get a roll call on this one, please?
Zach Briscoe,
Yes.
Matt Lazarine,
Yes.
Georgia Harris.
Yes.
And Michael Lowe.
Yes.
All right, we have a budget. Thank you for that. Now, the weird part is we go down to item 5 and pay for the budget. Item H5, discussion, consideration, and action on ordinance 24-0820-02, adopting the tax rate for fiscal year 2024-25. Mrs. Black, anything to add?
No, sir.
Nothing to add. Any discussion from council? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion on this item.
Is this about the property tax rate, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'll make a motion, Mayor, Council. I move that the property tax rate of 0.717855 be adopted, of which 0.428003 will be used for maintenance and operations, and 0.289852 for interest and sinking funds. This will result in an increase in property taxes for maintenance and operations, but does not exceed the new revenue rate.
All right, does not exceed the no new revenue rate. A second from Georgia,
Whatever you want to.
Councilwoman Harris. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none. I count that as none. All those in, let's do a roll call on this too, please.
Sir, Matt Lazarine,
Yes.
Georgia Harris,
I believe that's me, yes.
Zach Briscoe,
Yes.
and Michael Lowe.
Yes.
All right, with that, we have a tax rate to match our budget. Thank you for that again.
It's always helpful.
Yeah, lots of hard work went into that, I appreciate it. Item H6 is discussion, consideration, and action on water line electrical service for Black Hawk Creek Trail. Who's taking this one? All right, Mr. Wright, come on up.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The Whitehouse Parks and Recreation Foundation is seeking city assistance to establish water and electrical services at the pavilion located at the Black Hawk Creek Trailhead. Adding these amenities will be the foundation for future additions such as permanent restrooms, bicycle wash station, outdoor fans, drinkable water. The Public Works personnel are going to excavate, tap, and install approximately 280 feet of water service line to the pavilion. And with the assistance of licensed electricians, run electrical service in the same ditch line as the new water line. This process will increase project efficiency and value for cost. We did get ended up getting 3 different bids for electricians to help with this project, and staff tonight is recommending the approval to award the bid to Bonner Electric for $8,965.
All right, any questions for Mr. Wright?
Yes. There will be security in case, of course, non-intending people go out there and try to fool with the electric power and all that. It will be safeguarding, right, for security?
Yes, we will. There will be
In the water also,
There will be lockable power boxes. I don't want to misspeak, but we will.
and maybe a water key for the
and
water.
We will have a secure form for the water usage.
One more question. Is there a light out there that shines at night?
I've honestly never been out there at night, so.
No, no.
Yeah, there's no electrical lights on it. There was an old light pole.
Yeah, but with the addition of lights and electricity, it might be prudent to have a security light maybe installed out there. I just wondered, if I understand, burglars don't like lights and they don't like music and they don't like noise. Is that right?
We're also blessed, PD patrols that area very well.
They do. But it might be something to look at, maybe not immediate, but maybe in the future,
Yes, sir.
Anything else from council? All right, hearing nothing, I will entertain a motion. Thank you, sir.
I'll make the motion to approve bid from Bonner Electric LLC for installation of necessary electrical components and provide a power source at Black Hawk Creek Trail.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Did somebody in the audience say aye?
Future councilman.
Awesome. Count that as Councilman Chambers' vote.
Future ICC member right there.
That's right.
With that,
If we
the,
could do roll call, can we include that, please?
with that, the motion carries more than unanimously. All right, that takes us down to item H7, discussion, consideration, and action on the installation of security cameras at the Veterans Memorial. Mrs. Nichols.
Mayor and Council, if you guys remember back in May, you approved for us to move forward with electrical work and lighting at the Veterans Memorial. Part of that was we ran an electrical line that would provide electrical to a security camera. We got a quote from Summit Fire and Security, who does our other camera systems at City Hall, to install a camera and everything that goes with that. And the total amount was $4,483.95. Right now, there's no security system down there, so we're looking for approval to get that installed.
All right, thank you. Any questions from council, from Ms. Nichols? Are those gonna be cloud-based, like it stores,
They are, they have like a recording system. It goes with the same system that we already have at City Hall.
oh, okay.
So it'll just play into that same system
Yeah,
that we have.
cool.
Same system that monitors the safe exchange and
Yes.
and everything else. Excellent.
Any other questions?
Not from me, thank you. All right, any questions or comments from council? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the Summit Fire Security to perform the work necessary to install a security camera at the Whitehouse Veterans Memorial for an amount not to exceed $4,483.95.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Alright, that passes. Going down to item H8, discussion, consideration, and action on authorizing city manager to execute an agreement with Civic Plus for C-Click Fix request management tool. Who's taking this one? Mrs. Black.
Mayor and council, in discussions with Civic Plus, who is currently working to redesign our city website, they offer a product that's called C-Click Fix. This is an online solution that would allow citizens, employees, anybody traveling through our community to alert us for something that needs maintenance or city review. So everything from potholes to water leaks to code enforcement complaints. They could post that online, and then as the city reviews that and processes that, they would then receive notifications and communications back for updates on that. Currently, we have a very manual process. You have to call it in. We do a work order, send it to the correct department, and then try to reach back out to whoever notified us of that. As you can imagine, a lot of times we struggle with making sure we're getting all the correct information or needed information, being able to contact the requester back. It's just a very manual process, and I think this is one much more efficient way that citizens can see what we're doing on their behalf and let us know on things that need our attention. The cost for this is right around $4,500 per year, which for this type of product is pretty reasonable. Staff did link a couple of other cities that are currently using this in the agenda packet for your review, so if you want to check those out. Because there are a couple of cities that are doing a really great job at being very responsive to their citizens through this tool. And so with that, staff is recommending approval.
Any questions or discussion from council?
No, I'm happy with this.
I think it's a great idea. I do. And it records a consideration of complaint, whatever, it records it and everything, so I think that's great. It's a good step in the right direction.
Who negotiated our discount? That was pretty good. Yeah, well done.
Pretty good discount.
I like that.
Seems like a really good price.
It does. And this gives transparency to the citizens when they report an issue. They can kind of see it make its way through our system and they get notified right away.
Yeah.
I think in the past we'd mail them a letter after I'm just kidding. We did as best we could trying to get about hold of them, but this will be a push, notification going out to them. So I think it's great. Gives us a dashboard too, so that we, as a city government, can see what all problems are coming in, and we can start maybe doing things to change the quantity of those coming in. So it gives us a lot of empirical data that we can peruse through and make improvements.
Right now, that information is very siloed, so if you call in about a utility complaint, that's housed in our utility billing software.
Right.
So our utility billing clerks are able to see it, of course our public works staff is able to see it, but beyond that, no one else is able to see that, not other citizens, not staff, those types of things. This will, again, allow us a little bit better oversight and break down some of those silos on that information to be better able to respond.
We could get a pothole bird dog leaderboard.
There you go.
Found the most. Be great.
Will there be a place on there for praises?
No,
I'm just wondering.
I
Yeah.
will always be happy to take this.
Okay.
Yeah. Feel free to send praise.
Yes.
All right. Any further discussion from council? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to authorize the city manager to execute an agreement with Civic Plus for C-Click Fix request management tool.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. With that, the motion carries. All right, we're down to item H9. Consider future agenda items. We have a few here.
Mayor and council, the city of Tyler has requested some changes to our IT contract. We need to do some work to add our future facility at 109 East Main to that contract. Again, we also added some things like approval of the redundant fiber connection and the fiber connection down there that we are currently reviewing and hope to have that for you in our September meeting. Home Rule Charter Review, we have sent out a request for qualifications for professionals to help lead our Home Rule Charter Review process, and anticipate having that before you in September. And then budget work is never done. We need to make some amendments to the current fiscal year budget for 2023-2024.
Oh, okay, good.
Current fiscal
But we
year.
just passed it.
We just passed the future year. So.
Right. All right.
And then we'll also have an item on there for the Welcome to Whitehouse sign.
Oh, great, yeah. All right, anything else to add to the list that you see here from council?
I'm just verifying our next meeting is the 24th of September.
24th of
Yes.
September,
Okay.
6 p.m.
Good.
All right, and we will not have one on the fourth Tuesday of this month. That's right, yeah, the next one
Yeah,
is that.
this month got a little different, so.
All right. So hearing none, we're gonna move on to item I, administrative reports. Number one is receive reports from staff. These are this is a July.
Uh-oh.
Man, what a disappointment.
As in.
Tyler didn't update our AT.
What a letdown.
We voted on it, I promise.
That IT contract may get stalled.
Yeah.
No internet connection.
It took a little bit for me to pull it up a moment ago.
But he asked if Connie knew I was gonna be talking about it.
Yep. There we go, it'll work this time. Yay! All right, everybody, charts and graphs.
Mayor and council, I did share this in our weekly newsletter this week too, so I think we've been doing this for quite some time, and probably a lot of citizens don't know that we have this information out there and available for them to look at anytime they desire, so we did share that as a part of that this past week.
Excellent. Yeah, you can see evidence of softening sales taxes on a few of these prior year comparisons, so that's, even though we are building the commercial footprint here, we're still seeing that, so it's a good thing we are building that footprint. And I bet our water revenue picked up, well,
I'll do my,
In July,
will
for
this-
sure.
yeah,
Yeah,
it'll,
this
it'll
month
show,
will.
the next month you'll see a pretty big bar there. Alrighty,
The utility fund is always hard when your best 3 months are at the end of the fiscal year, so
Yeah.
we're all holding our breath by the time we get to this point in the year.
it was looking pretty bleak when it was raining every day,
but at least we aren't on water restrictions right now either, so
yeah.
it's kind of a happy
That's
medium.
true.
The franchise audit is still going on, right?
Yes, sir.
Ongoing? Okay.
You can see we received
Yeah,
14,000 in franchise fees. That's not all directly related to the audit, but that is included in the Friday update that we sent you.
But my God, if it's 1,000, couple thousand, that's money, you know, that's good, that we deserve, you know.
the bank interest is staying pretty steady.
We did budget less revenue for bank interest in the upcoming fiscal year with the anticipation that we spend those funds down for the renovation of 109 East Main. So we did cut back on that, but it has, to this point, remained pretty good.
Yeah. You can see the consent agenda for details. Mhm. Had some garage sales in July, didn't we?
I guess so.
I can tell you this, the code enforcement, I have seen some great, very good positive results. I mean, really makes you proud, you know. It's just a necessary thing sometimes, you know.
The development department has taken a very proactive approach on some of those code enforcement issues, so we really appreciate their work on that. And you can kind of see those issues here. I do know for the month of August, I think they're focusing largely on brush and limbs that need to be removed, so working with property owners to kind of get some compliance on that after the big storms that we had.
Yeah, so our big one was just removed off of right here, Baskin, so.
Yeah, that's right.
Is that the same green for the
Looks
13
like
and
it
the
to me,
62?
It is,
Okay.
it-
Oh, okay, you can hover over it. That's nice.
Not a lot to that.
Are those response times way down?
They are.
I noticed
They are
that
less
too.
than-
Back in 2021, they left a lot to be desired.
They are under 4 minutes.
Is stuff catching on fire right out in front of y'all there?
Just felt like
Hey.
you had a chance there.
That's that new pumper.
It's a lot.
Okay. Yeah, looking good. Staying trained.
These graphs are so appreciated, you know, I mean, it just makes it a little easy peasy.
And it's wild to see, we're not even close to, well, we're kind of, but not really close to where we were in July a couple years ago. That's how dry it was back then. So at least it started a little bit later this time.
I mean, when you have rain every week, it's not easy on weed abatement either, you know, so.
That's true. Service orders by type. You can register your vehicle right here in the city of Whitehouse.
Yes, and it is
Just make sure
a,
you have your renewal form though.
Yes, that is the young lady that will reject you.
but it is such a great service.
Yeah. thank you.
It really is. It's such a great thing, you know.
Is there a place online, because I've had people ask that question about the renewal form when they came here, what's the easiest way for them to get that form?
There
If you-
is no way to get it, besides going to the county office.
To the Cotton Belt or,
Cotton Belt, Noonday, or Troop, and let them know that you didn't get one, so that they can verify that the address they have is correct.
Okay.
Because a lot of times that's what happens, they don't have a correct address for you.
yes, ma'am.
And no inspections next year. You know, for your, you don't have to take any, so,
No, just tickets.
yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't mean you have to change out, you don't have to change out your bald tires and fix your windshield and all, and brake lights and everything else.
Yeah, we
And
have-
commercial vehicles are staying inspected for at least a little while, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Open record request, what are we looking at here?
Pretty common.
35? Okay, I know.
Meal service.
So our Meals on Wheels is still hitting quite a few deliveries, it looks like. I mean, that organization on the whole is struggling.
Yeah.
So it's good to see our volunteers are kind of filling the gap there. Okay.
And we don't have any updates from the library or Keep Whitehouse anymore.
All right, anything else from council on these, July report, on this July report? And the financial statement is enclosed, feel free to check that out. All right, if there's nothing else on that, we'll go down to J, executive session, of which we have none, so we're not gonna need to come back from that, okay? That takes us down to item L, adjourn, entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Everybody else stay here. The time is 6:52. We are adjourned.
Jason, I
There. 1 year and $4,000 fine.
1 year.
Yeah, $4,000 fine.
Oh, 1 year?
They maxed it.
What are you talking about?
Terry Phillips.
Oh, wow.
Wait till the first time it rains, all them flooded yards. I'm sorry.
So what is that?